Picking up where we left off. So I heard that figuring out exactly how many repeats to do is a source of struggle. So let's just kind of get through this, show you how I'm figuring out the math here. I think Mr. Murphy was able to help you and go over this with you as well. So let's just read the directions carefully together. The next step is very similar to the work that you did in part 1, except now you're going to build the row from right to left. And that's what I said in the last video, that I was doing the opposite, left to right. The bricks will have the same height and the same length and will be built directly on top of the first row. One way to think about this is that the second row will share an edge, the length of the brick. Like I said, there will be an overlap with the first. More specifically, the top of the first row will be attached to the bottom of the second, so there should be no space. Note that based on step 1, you have positioned your sprite to be at the top of the first row and midway through, lengthwise, through the last brick. Since you will be starting your next layer of bricks at this point, the bricks will be what we call offset or staggered, like we said, meaning no brick will be directly on top of the one below it. The length of the brick in the new layer will always overlap with 2 bricks on the layer below. Build the next layer by creating the bricks as you did in part 1, but in the opposite direction. Make sure that this layer ends 10 steps before the edge. So similarly, you're starting 10 steps in and you're going to end 10 steps before. So like this, except on the other side as well. Consider that the first row has 24 bricks, and if this row is 10 steps shorter on each side, so what's 10 times 2, right? We're saying each side, then how many bricks will we have? So we're trying to figure out, we have a lot of the code already set, but we're trying to figure out how many times we'll already repeat based on some of this new code we'll be making for this new row. So what's the math here? Alright, so 10 on this side, 10 on this side, like we said, right? That's what we're taking off, right? Because you can see that the full length is 20 and we're halfway through. So what we're trying to do here is take the full 20, right, 10 from each side, 10 times 2, 20, from 480. Why 480? Because the full length of the stage is 480, let's say, units wide. Why? Because the center of our x-axis, basically this horizontal axis, is at 0, and then it goes out from to negative 240 and to positive 240 on this side. So 480 minus 20, then divided by 20. Why divided by 20? Because the length of the brick is 20. So how many bricks does it take to go the length of this, this set of bricks? So, some quick math will show when you take 20 away from 80, let's just ignore the 400 for now, you get 60, right? So if you put the 4 back, 460, then we're going to divide that by 20. 460 divided by 20 will be, give you a moment to think about it. So basically, what number times 20 is equal to 460? Well, let's do it sort of piecewise, right? So 20, what do we know will get us to, let's see, just the hundredths place, right? So 20 times what? Well, we know 20 times 10 will get us to 200, and we know that 2 times 2 is 4, so 2 times 20 would be 400, right? Now we have the 60, right? Because we've taken away the 20 from the 80. Sorry, I'm not drawing this out, but I think you can figure it out. 60, right? So how do we get 60? So we already have 20, and then how many 20s do we need to get 60? 3. Yeah, so together we're going to have to make 23 repeats. The code part I want you to work on. I will let you know that there is a bit of a trick involved. You're going to have to consider how you're continuing to point your sprite in the proper direction. Again, remember, if you're looking at the code I have here, you're doing everything opposite to this. But the code that you're going to be doing will be very similar to what you first did with different directions. And what I will also say is that you are going to need to use this math for figuring out the number of repeats you have when you are doing this second layer. You're going to end up having code that looks like this. All right, thanks.